What's up and welcome back to another RiftGuides WildRift video. Today we are going to take a look at counter the meta and basically talking about the meta, what counters the meta, what you can do, but obviously always the issue is going to be is meta, not immediately also the counter to the meta. So it's basically just a summary of what you want to pick against certain champions and how you can deal with them. But before we hop into that, let's talk about our question of the day. What is your meta counter? Just share any comment about whatever counter you have, like a specific matchup or anything you have on your mind in the comments below. I'm eager to take a look at it. And now let's hop into the video. So you always know that true damage is very broken against Amaranth Twin Guard. True damage as a design feature is something that is at the same time very toxic but also very powerful in the sense of giving people options. Like, let's say you have a true damage champion which takes a lot of time to scale in this relatively weak early game and can get completely dumpstered by other champions who don't have true damage. Then they're so far behind that they need to invest a lot of time or be very good at the champion to then deal with the high resistance enemies as the game goes on. But what happens if you have champions that are very powerful and have access to true damage at the same time? And now let's talk about those meta monsters, like Gwen, Fiora, and Olaf. Those three champions are absolute demons. Gwen in lane or in the jungle role is broken upon reaching like 3 items and she'll just kill you while also building Amaranth herself, because that is the problem. Like, you are countering an item on champions with true damage while also being the problem at the same time. Because let's think about it, let's talk about like champion strength. A champion with true damage will always come out on top if he is super tanky against a champion without true damage. So if you have champions such as Gwen, Fiora, and Olaf, you can also add Vayne to the mix because it's basically the similar story. Also Darius can be added to that mix because it's also a similar story. So you have those champions and they all feature the same thing, they have true damage. But also the problem is, all of them can build the item that makes them such a problem themselves. They can also just build Amaranth Twin Guard. For example, Fiora, Divine Sunderer, Hullbreaker, Amaranth Twin Guard. Olaf, Divine Sunderer, Black Cleaver, Amaranth Twin Guard. Gwen, Nash's Tooth or Riftmaker, Rabadon's Deathcap, Twin Guard. Like that. This is the problem. Or for example on Vayne, there's a new build which we started to popularize with I'm the Doom. We theory crafted a little build which is basically Trinity Force, Blade of the Rune King, Warmock's Armor, and then Twin Guard. Because you have so much health from these items, you basically become invincible while also dealing true damage, and then the similar thing applies to everyone else. Like, if you survive, you will eventually kill them, and eventually killing them is good enough to win. And if they can't kill you, you will kill them. And it's such a stupid and simplistic view of things, but it always works, and it will always keep on working because that is how it's sadly working. It's really annoying. But this is something you have to understand when it comes to those meta problems, is often the meta itself, if the meta is balanced around an item, makes it very difficult to not just have absolute big problems in the game. For example, we'd have an item that grants us too much damage for AP champions. Let's say, well, let's talk about the previous things, like before Twin Guard was a thing. So mages. Mages had Void Staff, mages had Prophet's Pendant, and Luden's Echo. So you have Luden's Echo, Prophet's Pendant, and Void Staff, and then you take away more than 75% of the person's magic resist or even more in the mid game with like little to no investment. That is absolutely crazy. Then you add Sudden Impact to the mix, and then you remove the entire magic resist in the early to mid game with little to no investment. Like, just Prophet's Pendant and Sudden Impact is 25 magic pen, which is only 6 or 7 less than usually champions have at that point that are ranged. Like, it is absolutely absurd, and instead of nerfing those kind of items or AP champions in general, they just introduce items that make bruises like a ticking time bomb. So, whereas mages infinitely scaled because they just got stronger and stronger and stronger and just one-hit you, now we have an item that makes bruisers basically not one-shottable. Because now they have access to items that grant them resistances for both armor and magic resist alike, while also increasing their overall total stats even more. So being unable to one-shot them will just lead to them killing you over time. And then you can't do anything about it, which is the biggest problem. You just can't do anything about it the moment it hits that point in time. Before that you can do something, but if you fail, in snowballing, you will just lose, because those Amaranth users will just kill you. And the only way to combat those top tier Amaranth users, which is like for example Wukong or other champions, is to have champions that have true damage and can also build Amaranth Twin Guard. So the only logical solution here is to just change something about the Amaranth Twin Guard, unless it is their intention of having this in the game. Another possible counter would be AP Varus. With the recent buffs to AP Varus, he has gotten so much more scaling on his abilities for his ultimate and his second ability that the damage conversion is absolutely nuts. So Varus, with for example a stacked up Riftmaker from using his first ability, with a Void Staff, with a Rabadon and the Nash's Tooth, like all these kind of things, will tag you, and then he will literally one-tap you. He will have enough damage due to the conversion from max HP damage and with the pen that he will be able to one-tap you. That is the problem. Like, well, theoretically speaking, if you're fat enough, he maybe won't one-tap you, but he'll take away so much HP that you'll be not able to fight at all, which is similarly to killing you because you're not an asset anymore for a fight. Unless you are a support with Warmox, then it's kind of different. It's the reason why, for example, Vayne is going Warmox in this newest build, because having a lifesteal is kind of troublesome and getting tanky at the same time as well, since you can't go Bloodthirsty, you only have Blade of the Rune King, which isn't that much lifesteal. But if you just go away from the fight for like 10 seconds, you'll be full life again afterwards. That is the glory of the item, if you have it, and makes life substantially easier. And the same thing applies to another champion such as Brand. Brand basically does the same as AP Varus, just in a different manner. Like, the more melee champions we have, and this is heavily promoting like a melee champion meta, like with a lot of bruisers and tanks, you just have champions that have percentage life damage and that just take care of those chunky people and blow them up. For example, a teamfight with Brand hitting his entire combo into the enemy team will absolutely demolish them as they're all exploding after each other. And then this damage, even if the Brand ends up dying, is usually enough to end the fight for his team, because his damage is big enough to blow all of them up on his own. Another approach would be playing Lilia as a champion. Lilia as a champion is also able to itemize into this Amaranth Twin Guard. She also has access to true damage. So yet again, every champion that is consistently able to build true damage in any capacity is a valid choice into Amaranth Twin Guard. Also, if you have any type of burn damage, such as like Lilia has, Morgana is also a great choice into those champions. Any type of burn damage that decides the fight before anything has happened beforehand is very powerful and very needed to deal with those Amaranth users, because otherwise you will not be able to do so. And this is something that I believe should be addressed, because this item is way too toxic, and I really hope it is getting changed in some capacity so it's not as overbearing as it is, because one item literally, this is not even wrong, literally doubling your resistances for armor and magic resist shouldn't be in the game. Well, it's even more than doubling for magic resist, which is a big problem. But, well, yeah, it's just how it goes, and it probably will take some time for this item to be tackled, but those champions I've just presented to you will be able to deal with this meta while also being meta themselves. It's troublesome, it's annoying, I know, but it is what it is. And that's it for today's video. If you liked the video, leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and come back tomorrow for more. See you soon.